Hey, hi guys. So today we are going to discuss the recent match between Djokovic and Sonego. It was a clear shock for everybody to see Djokovic lose by such a huge margin. So he lost 2-6 and 1-6, and I think it's the least number of games that he has won for the first time. And it was a clear case of Sonego playing really well as Djokovic looking unmotivated and not focused on the match completely. So, not sure what the reason was. So, in today's video, we'll first discuss the match statistics and try to understand if it was the case of a clear one-off performance from Sonego, or was it also involving some bad play from Djokovic. And then we'll also discuss about Djokovic specifically because this sort of loss when Djokovic has, had a very good year so far. He was winning almost 100%, and suddenly he loses uh, like this, as well as the interview, the press conference that he gave, and the statement that he made was quite surprising. Like he was sort of not too disappointed about the match. He said that he came here with the goal to secure the number 1 ranking for the end of the year. So I found it quite disappointing, this sort of statement coming from the world number 1 player, that he just is focused on retaining his ranking, where clearly he could have easily won this tournament based on his credentials. Uh, Nothing to take away from Sonego, but we'll still discuss the statement from Djokovic. So let's move ahead to the match statistics, and I have the key match stats here. So you can clearly see that Djokovic was not playing at his best. He just hit 7 winners and he made around 25 unforced errors. Whereas Sonego played the match of his life, so his ratio of winners to unforced errors was very good. He hit 26 winners and made just 12 unforced errors. So that's a very good ratio. He said that he played the match of his life, and that's true. And he was also a lucky loser in this tournament, so that adds to his achievements definitely. Then the key stat here is the breakpoints won. So even though on some of the breakpoints Sonego played really well, but 0 out of 6 breakpoints where Djokovic actually had love 40 in one of the games against Sonego on his serve and still was not able to convert. I think that would have definitely caused him a bit of harm, and then you could see him losing in the next game as well. So he was a double breakdown by that time. So I think not being able to convert these many breakpoints was definitely one of the reason. And also, if you see the second serve points one, it's just 30% for Djokovic. It's not even that good for Sonego, but for Djokovic, I think his second serve is very good, and he would definitely have expected more in that department. And even his first serve percentage, 55, is it's not that bad, but given the quality of his serve, if he would have gotten to like above 60%, that would definitely have helped. And even when he got his first serve in, I think he won only around 60 or 62% of the points. So that's again shows that his first serve was not working that well. And but the main reason, of course, is the number of unforced errors that he hit. And given that it's a hard court, I mean Djokovic, of course, we all know is the best player on hard courts today, and he's even better than Nadal and Federer on this specific court. And still, he was beaten this badly. I think that definitely shows that he was not in a good form while Sonego played the match of his life. So I think that's the main reason. Sonego himself mentioned that this was his best performance. This was a dream performance from him, and he played aggressive as well as he never let Djokovic off the hook even for a while. So usually in such matches we see that there is a slight drop of form from each player, but it didn't come from Sonego, and unfortunately, Djokovic was never able to get to the form that he has played throughout the year. And I think that was the reason for his loss. But the statement that he made in the press conference, I think that is more surprising and disappointing because I'm also a big fan of Djokovic, and I think he is definitely going to go past the number of Grand Slams from Nadal and Federer. But looking at this sort of attitude in his statement, I think that surprises me and also worries me about his upcoming performances because he didn't look too disappointed from the match, and the statement that he made, that he was just there to secure the number 1 ranking for the year. I think that's also a bit disrespectful towards the tournament because he was given a wild card, I think, in this tournament, and he just played to gain the ranking. I could not buy that, and I was really disappointed personally from that statement. Now, it's not like it's only Djokovic who has done this sort of thing. Even Federer last year or a couple of years back played in the Rotterdam tournament because he had a chance to clinch the number 1 ranking and also become, I think, the oldest player to get the ranking. um like the second time, or there is a specific record that Federer got from that winning that tournament. But even then, he looked like he wanted to win that tournament throughout. And even I think, even though Nadal or Federer lose the match, uh, they never say that they didn't come to win the tournament and they were just coming to with a different goal. So I think that is definitely a point that the Federer and Nadal fans might argue, because lack of motivation for Djokovic has definitely been a factor. We saw that after the 2016 French Open. When he won that, after that, he certainly admitted that he had a lack of motivation because he had achieved what he wanted to, and then for a few years he was out of form. Then he also got injured. But in this match, he didn't look injured at all. He was, and in fact, he played really well in the past two matches. I saw his couple of matches, and he was playing really well. He was moving well. So not sure what changed. Maybe the news that he had already secured the number 1 ranking. Uh, Maybe that was the reason. And I think that is a bit surprising for me. Even the statement that he made after the default at the US Open was a bit surprising. I mean, the first statement was pretty good and pretty respectful, where he said that he has learned a lot from this mistake and he continues to evolve as a player and as a human being because of this experience, and he'll use this experience to be a better player in the future. But then we saw in the next tournament, he again broke his racket, and when asked for the second time, I think he mentioned this is how who he is, and I think this helps him release his frustration by breaking rackets. So I think this sort of statements are a bit disappointing as a Djokovic fan, where he is clearly trying to justify what he's doing in terms of the racket breaking, or whether he's losing a match by such margin. He could have easily said that Sonego was too good, I tried everything, but then he said that he's still satisfied because he has achieved the number 1 ranking. So I think that is definitely a bit surprising statement for me. But we all know Djokovic, he's a very good player, and definitely he'll bounce back. And I actually, as a Djokovic fan, I'm hoping for him to bounce back because I want to see a close competition between Djokovic, Federer, and Nadal in terms of the number of Grand Slams. Right now, Nadal and Federer are tied at 20, and I mean, every Grand Slam that they play brings a lot of excitement because any one of them can, uh, go ahead with the record, and it would be really hard for each of them to, keep pace with each other. But Djokovic, I think he is still at 17, and the gap is definitely increasing between him and Federer and Nadal. And I think more the talk about this, I hear every now and then in the news and also in the articles that people are talking about him overtaking Federer and Nadal. I think that should stop for a while, and let's just wait for the next year for him to win one or two tournaments, because I think right now it's not a small gap, three Grand Slams, but we all know that Australian Open is his favorite surface, and if he comes back strong in 2021, and if he wins the Australian Open, then it again puts him back on track, and then the French Open would get really exciting because he would definitely want to get some sort of revenge against Nadal on clay. Not every day or not every tournament will Nadal, play his best, and Djokovic will play his sort of worst tennis. So let's just hope that he plays well next year, and definitely his next tournament, as he has said, is the World Tour Finals this year. And I think that surface also helps him. He has already won there a lot of times, and I think Nadal would be really hoping to win that tournament because he hasn't won it even a single time. So I think that's one of the records that Nadal would be chasing, and it would be really interesting to see the battle between Nadal and Djokovic should they both get there to the end. So, guys, do post in the comments what do you think about Djokovic's loss this time? Was Sonego too good for him, or was Djokovic looking a bit unmotivated, or maybe he was just completely out of form? And what do you think might be the reason for him being, out of form all of a sudden on his one of the favorite surfaces, even though he was playing good in this tournament, so it was not his first match in this tournament. He actually played very good matches in the past two rounds, but then suddenly he was not playing that well in this match. So do post in the comments, guys, and thanks for watching this video. Thank you.